Have you ever walked into a room and felt invisible, like people noticed your presence but didn't truly see you? What if I told you that how others perceive you has less to do with your words or looks and everything to do with the unseen energy you carry within? This video will open your eyes to a truth most people never hear. Your energy speaks louder than your voice. Whether you're constantly overlooked, feel the need to prove yourself, or are simply exhausted by trying to meet everyone else's expectations, this message is for you. We're diving deep into the hidden forces that shape how the world responds to you, your essence, your authenticity, and the unconscious beliefs that are quietly running your life. Inspired by Carl Jung's teachings and real-world wisdom, this video will help you discover how to reclaim your power, transform your relationships, and finally become impossible to ignore. If you've ever wondered why you feel drained around certain people, or how to break free from cycles of self-doubt and people-pleasing, you need to stay until the end. Because what you'll hear today could change not just how others see you, but how you see yourself. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. Carl Jung, one of the most profound voices in the world of psychology, spoke passionately about something called individuation, a beautiful, sacred process of discovering and fully embracing your most authentic self. To me, this isn't just theory, it's a lifeline. It's about coming home to yourself after years, maybe even decades, of being lost in the noise of who the world told you to be. It's not about putting on a perfect face, curating a personality to win approval, or trying to become who others expect you to be. No. It's about finally peeling back the layers of fear, shame, and false identity that have smothered the real you. So many of us have spent our lives hiding behind smiles that weren't real, achievements that didn't satisfy, and words we didn't truly believe in. Why? Because from the moment we could speak, we were trained to fit in, to shrink ourselves, to follow rules, to chase approval instead of truth. We were taught that love had to be earned, that acceptance meant performance, and that standing out was risky. And somewhere along the way, many of us stopped asking, "Who am I?" Jung called it being trapped behind masks, personas we wear to feel safe, accepted, and loved. But the tragedy is that over time, we start believing the mask is who we are. We forget the soul underneath. But I believe, and I've seen, that there's something inside each of us that refuses to die. Something unshakably real. Picture a seed buried deep within your being, untouched by fear, untouched by criticism, untouched even by your self-doubt. That seed is your essence, your truest self, pure potential, waiting. But here's the truth. It won't grow on its own. It needs light. It needs care. And more than anything, it needs your courage. Because nurturing that seed means facing the parts of yourself you've tried to ignore, the fear, the insecurity, the pain, the lies you've believed about your worth. That's not easy. It's vulnerable. It's messy. But it's also where the magic begins. Every single time you felt inadequate, every time you whispered, "I'm not good enough," that was not your real voice. That was the voice of a wounded world echoing through your mind. That was the conditioning of a society that profits off your self-doubt. And every single one of those moments was your true self, crying out to be seen, to be loved as you are. Jung talked about the unconscious self, that hidden part of us that shapes our thoughts, reactions, relationships, and choices without us even knowing. So many people spend their lives chasing love, chasing validation, chasing recognition, not realizing that what they're truly longing for is a reconnection with themselves. They look everywhere except within. But what if the key has never been outside of you? What if it's been buried inside all along, waiting for you to stop running and start listening? When you finally begin that inward journey, when you dare to ask, "Who am I beneath the mask?" something incredible starts to happen. You discover strength in places you thought were a weakness. You find beauty in what once felt like flaws. And you begin to realize that your uniqueness isn't something to hide, it's something to celebrate. It's your superpower. The goal isn't to change who you are. The goal is to expand, to strip away what doesn't belong to you, to clear out the shame, the guilt, the fear, and the lies that have kept you small, and to reclaim your truth, your light, your inherent worth. Think of a raw diamond, rough, jagged, overlooked. To the average eye, it may seem ordinary, maybe even worthless. But to those who truly see, its potential is undeniable. With the right effort, patience, and refinement, that diamond becomes something breathtaking. That's you. You're that diamond. And yes, polishing yourself, doing the work to grow and heal can be painful, it can be lonely, but it is necessary to reveal the brilliance that's been buried inside you all along. Here's the part no one likes to hear. No one else can do this work for you. Not your partner, not your friends, not a therapist or a coach. Only you can choose to rise. Only you can decide if you'll continue being just another face in the crowd, or if you'll finally step into your truth and become irreplaceable. And let me say this clearly, being authentic does not mean being arrogant, cold, or rebellious. It means being so deeply rooted in your truth, so aligned with your inner compass, that you stop needing anyone else's permission to exist fully. It means showing up with integrity, vulnerability, and courage, even when others don't understand it. And believe me, they won't always understand, but that's okay. Your job isn't to be understood. Your job is to be you. Jung once said that the greatest act of courage is to face yourself. And he was right. Looking at your shadows, your anger, your pain, your fear is terrifying. But within those shadows are the very barriers that have kept you from your light. Every time you've felt like you weren't enough, every time you've doubted your worth, those weren't your true thoughts. They were echoes of the past, your parents' wounds, society's lies, your own unhealed stories. And here's the heartbreaking truth. As long as you let those voices dictate your life, you will always be living small, always chasing, always doubting, because others will only value you as much as you value yourself. So ask yourself, what does it mean to value yourself? It's not just posting affirmations or repeating mantras in the mirror. It's about radical honesty. It's about accepting your failures without shame and owning your victories without guilt. It's about looking at your whole story, the good, the bad, the beautiful, the broken, and saying, this is me, and I am worthy of love anyway. Because every single moment in your life, no matter how painful or seemingly insignificant, has been shaping you, teaching you, pushing you closer to who you are. So no, this path isn't easy, but it's the only one that leads home. From the moment we enter this world, society whispers in our ears that to matter, we must compete. To stand out, we must constantly outdo others, be louder, faster, richer, more polished, and more impressive. We're told that worth is something we earn through comparison. But let's be honest, where has that belief taken us? Exhaustion, burnout, a gnawing sense of never being enough, no matter how much we accomplish. But the truth, the freeing, powerful, soul, deep truth is this. True greatness doesn't compete. It simply exists. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't need a spotlight. It shines from within, effortlessly. Think of a tree standing tall in the middle of a quiet forest. That tree doesn't strain to grow taller than the others. It doesn't look left or right to see how it measures up. It just grows, reaching upward, downward, and inward, becoming more of what it already is. And in doing so, it becomes remarkable. You're no different. Your purpose is not to hustle your way to some imagined finish line. Your purpose is to evolve into the most unapologetically authentic version of yourself. And when you begin living from that sacred place of truth, something shifts, not just inside of you, but around you. Your presence changes. You no longer need to prove your worth or convince others of your value. Your energy starts speaking for itself, clear, calm, confident. The kind of energy that draws people in without you needing to say a word. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Let's be honest, this path to authenticity. It's not glamorous. It's not easy. It demands you let go of everything you thought you had to be and instead trust who you already are. It's uncomfortable, sometimes painful, but it is the only path that leads to true peace. It's the only journey that's real, because the world doesn't need more copies, more perfectly polished masks, and more people playing roles to survive. It needs you, the most real version of you, the one who laughs loudly, cries deeply, loves imperfectly, and lives truthfully. Authenticity, true, soul-bearing authenticity, is one of the greatest challenges we will ever face in life. But it is also one of our most untapped superpowers. It's not about trying to fit into some pre-made mold. It's about looking in the mirror and recognizing that you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out, not because you're better than anyone else, but because you are different. Beautifully, intentionally different. Carl Jung called this journey individuation, a powerful internal awakening where you peel back the layers of who you thought you were supposed to be and slowly, bravely, reveal who you actually are. It's about facing your shadows, integrating your light, and rising above the noise of the world to become whole, complete you. But hear me clearly, this journey is not for the faint of heart. It demands everything: honesty, courage, and an unshakable commitment to truth. You must strip away the masks society taught you to wear. You must confront the fears you've buried for years. But when you do, something extraordinary happens. When you embrace your authenticity, you become irreplaceable. Not because you have more, do more, or prove more, but because you radiate a unique energy that cannot be duplicated. You shine with a kind of light that only comes from the inside, from the soul. And no, this transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's not a quick fix or a surface-level change. It's deep inner work, the kind that most people avoid because it's hard, but it's also the work that frees you. Viktor Frankl, in Man's Search for Meaning, said that those who find an inner purpose can endure even the harshest of conditions. Their energy doesn't scatter, trying to please the world. It focuses inward, forming a solid core of confidence, clarity, and conviction. Think of the people you admire most. The ones who captivate a room with their presence, not their volume. The ones who live with boldness, not because they follow trends, but because they don't. They are grounded, they are real, they are free. And that's what makes them unforgettable. Jung often emphasized the importance of becoming who you truly are. And I believe that now, more than ever, we need to take that to heart. Because most of us are still walking around carrying identities that don't belong to us. We've been shaped by our childhoods, molded by culture, scarred by rejection, and silenced by fear. We've become strangers to ourselves. How many times have you sacrificed your truth just to be accepted? How many times have you watered yourself down to keep the peace? How often have you kept your voice quiet out of fear that you'd be too much? But here's the thing, the energy we project to the world doesn't come from our achievements. It doesn't come from the mask we wear. It comes from what we genuinely carry inside. And when what's inside is wounded, fearful, or disconnected, the energy we radiate reflects that whether we like it or not. Jung believed the psyche is made up of different archetypes, different parts of ourselves. We must learn to embrace and integrate the whole. One of those parts is the shadow, the pieces of us we've hidden, because they don't match the image we think we need to present. But ignoring your shadow doesn't make it disappear. It buries itself deep within you, influencing your decisions, your emotions, your relationships, your self-worth, all while remaining unseen. Take a moment to consider this. How many people walk through life projecting confidence on the outside, but inside, they're crumbling? How many appear successful, yet are haunted by self-doubt and fear? That's the power of unacknowledged shadows they leak through. They seep into your energy. No matter how hard you try to hide them, the truth always finds a way out. Authenticity isn't the absence of fear. It's the willingness to face fear without pretending it doesn't exist. A truly authentic person doesn't deny their pain. They hold it, they learn from it, and they rise, stronger and softer all at once. Their energy isn't fragmented by self-deception. It's whole, it's real, and it's magnetic. So, if you're tired of faking it, of chasing validation, of living a life that doesn't feel like yours, it's time to turn inward, time to come home to yourself. And in doing so, become someone this world will never forget. If you truly want to transform your energy, your presence, your relationships, your life, you must begin by looking inward, not glancing, not brushing the surface, but courageously looking. Ask yourself, with raw honesty, how many times have you allowed fear to dictate your decisions? How many moments of your life have been shaped not by love, not by joy, but by anxiety, doubt, and the need to be accepted? And perhaps even more painfully, how often have you dimmed your light just to be tolerated in rooms that never truly saw you? Let that sink in. We live in a world that idolizes confidence but misunderstands where it comes from. True presence, the kind that turns heads without saying a word, isn't loud or boastful. It doesn't need to declare itself. It's rooted in something much deeper, a quiet confidence born from deep self-awareness. A knowing that says, I don't need to compete. I don't need to pretend. I am already enough. That kind of inner peace is rare, but it's not unreachable. Picture this with me, a lake high above the noise of the world, resting at the peak of a quiet mountain. Its surface is still, so still, it mirrors the sky above like glass. That is what aligned energy looks like. That is the soul of someone who has made peace with themselves. Someone who no longer chases validation because they've already found wholeness within. Now contrast that with another lake, one thrashed by a raging storm, its waters murky, unsettled, chaotic. This is what it feels like to live consumed by inner turmoil, caught in the web of external pressure and unresolved emotional pain. That's the energy of someone constantly trying to prove their worth, because deep down, they're unsure if they ever had it to begin with. And here's the sobering truth. The difference between those two energies. It's not luck. It's not circumstances. It's inner work. The quiet, relentless, powerful work of choosing self-connection over societal approval. But let's be real, the world doesn't make this path easy. Every day, we're bombarded with images, messages, and expectations from social media, career demands, family roles, and cultural noise. We're pushed to look outward, to measure ourselves against artificial standards, to perform for love instead of simply being love. We've been conditioned, almost programmed to believe that our worth is measured by trophies, titles, and applause. That unless the world claps for us, we must not be enough. But that couldn't be further from the truth. The more we disconnect from our inner essence to chase what the world tells us we should be, the more our energy becomes fragmented, weak, and exhausted. We begin to lose that powerful, radiant core of who we are. Carl Jung understood this deeply. He believed that much of how we see the world is shaped by the collective unconscious, the stories, fears, and archetypes passed down through generations. But he also believed that real growth begins the moment we dare to separate our voices from the noise of society. And how do we do that? By developing what Jung called the self, a fully integrated being who embraces all of who they are: the light, the shadow, the strength, the scars, the joy, and the brokenness. It's not about perfection, it's about wholeness. It's about no longer being at war with yourself. Only when we stop battling our own truth can we begin to radiate an energy that is powerful, grounded, and unmistakably real. If you've ever felt like you constantly need to do more, achieve more, or prove yourself just to be worthy, please pause. Just pause for a moment. Breathe. Reflect. Let your soul ask the question it's been aching to ask. What if I am already enough? Because true abundance, true worth, isn't something you earn. It isn't a badge handed out by society. It's something you cultivate from within. The Eastern philosopher Lao Tzu once said, "When you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you." And isn't that the truth? The moment you stop chasing and start embracing, you see clearly nothing is missing from you. Imagine yourself not as someone struggling upstream, but as a river flowing effortlessly, naturally, gracefully. The river doesn't panic. It doesn't try to control the path. It trusts the flow. And in doing so, it always finds its way. When we cling to control, force outcomes, or chase validation, we block that sacred flow. We fill ourselves with anxiety, tension, and fear. We drain our life force by trying to become what we're not. But when we trust our authenticity, when we allow our essence to express itself freely, life begins to unfold in ways we could never have orchestrated on our own. Now, you might be wondering, how do I begin? How do I shift from stormy waters to still reflection? There's no secret formula, no one-size-fits-all answer. This isn't a quick fix, it's a journey. But some practices can help you find your center and realign with your truth. It begins with awareness, with willingness, with a sacred decision to come back home to yourself. Because the journey of transformation doesn't start outside of you. It doesn't begin with applause, approval, or recognition. It begins in silence, in stillness, in that gentle but powerful moment when you decide, I deserve to know who I am beneath it all, and I deserve to live in that place every single day. Meditation is one of the most powerful tools available to us, not because it changes the world around us, but because it changes how we see it. When we meditate, we are no longer held hostage by the non-stop chatter of our minds. We learn to observe our thoughts rather than be consumed by them. In that stillness, we begin to hear a voice we've often silenced, our true voice. And then comes self-reflection. Whether through journaling, deep conversations, or even therapy, self-reflection helps us uncover the roots of our pain, our patterns, and the invisible expectations we've spent our lives trying to meet. It reveals how many of our choices have been shaped, not by desire, but by fear, not by freedom, but by conditioning. But above all, transformation begins when we choose something sacred: authenticity. The decision to honor your truth, even when it's inconvenient, even when it means standing alone, is one of the most radical acts of self-love. It's not easy. Sometimes it feels like walking into a storm barefoot. But it's real, and it's worth it. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Because let's be honest, the world is full of people who've settled. People who color within the lines, who nod politely, who follow the rules written by someone else. They skim the surface of life, never daring to explore the wild, beautiful depths of their being. But you are not here to be ordinary. You are not here to blend in. In a world drowning in superficiality, you have the power to be someone whose energy awakens, someone whose presence heals, someone whose authenticity isn't just a choice, it's a force, a quiet, unshakable evolution unfolding in real time. But understand this, real transformation does not bloom in the comfort zone. It grows in the dark soil of discomfort, where truth lives. It happens when we sit with ourselves, not to judge but to listen, to hold space for who we've been and who we're becoming. When we do that, when we stop running from ourselves, something incredible happens. We begin to realize that we don't have to shout to be heard. We don't have to fight to be seen. The presence of someone who has found their inner center, who has rooted themselves in peace, is felt before they ever say a word. That kind of presence is magnetic. It's unforgettable. And when that shift takes place, you stop being just another face in the crowd. You become someone impossible to ignore, not because you're flashy, but because you're real, because you're whole. True abundance has nothing to do with how much you have. It's not about stacking accomplishments, chasing milestones, or earning approval. It's a shift in perception, a transformation in how you see yourself and the world. It's the realization that nothing outside of you can make you feel whole, because you already are. People who radiate peace, confidence, and ease aren't chasing anything. They've stopped searching for love in empty places. They've stopped outsourcing their worth. They've come home to themselves, and in doing so, they've tapped into a wellspring of joy and contentment that no one can take from them. But when we operate from a place of lack, when we believe we're not enough as we are, we enter a dangerous cycle. We seek love, success, and attention from a space of desperation. And no matter how much we gain, it never feels like enough. That kind of hunger is insatiable, because it's not food we need, it's healing. The moment we begin to build a healthy, honest relationship with ourselves, everything changes. When we trust in our intrinsic worth, not our titles, not our looks, not our achievements, but the core of who we are, we stop needing others to complete us. We become whole on our own. Carl Jung believed that many of our relationships are not built on truth, but on projections. We often attract people who mirror our wounds. For instance, if you find yourself constantly surrounded by those who ignore your boundaries, ask yourself, do you, deep down, believe you're worthy of respect? Because here's the miracle. When you start believing in your worth, your relationships begin to change without you even trying. Those who cannot honor your light will fall away, and those who truly see you will rise to meet you. Healing begins within, but it never stays there. It echoes, it ripples, it transforms the space around us. When you do the inner work, the external world must respond. History has shown us that the boldest, most transformative souls were not those who chased approval, they were the ones who chose truth. Teresa of Avila, in a time when women were expected to remain silent, chose divine connection over conformity. Mahatma Gandhi, in the face of violence and oppression, showed the world that true revolution starts within. These people weren't perfect, but they were authentic. They didn't just change their lives, they reshaped the world. And they did it by choosing themselves. And so can you. Self-love is not a destination you arrive at once. And for all, it's a sacred, ongoing journey. It's a daily practice, a decision you make over and over again, especially on the days when it feels hardest. It's not just about feeling good about yourself when things go right. It's about choosing to honor yourself when everything feels uncertain. When you feel tired, unworthy, or alone, and you still show up for yourself with compassion, that's what self-love is. Strengthening self-love requires courage. It begins with setting boundaries, even when it makes others uncomfortable. You have to understand this truth. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. Your time, your presence, your spirit, they are valuable. Learning to say no isn't selfish. It's a radical act of self-respect. It's saying, I matter. My peace matters. It also means doing the inner work, challenging those quiet, sneaky limiting beliefs that whisper, you're not enough. Many of the insecurities we carry aren't even ours. They're inherited from society, from childhood wounds, from past relationships, but you are allowed to reflect, to question, and to rewrite those old stories. You are not obligated to carry every belief you were raised with. Living authentically requires you to peel back those layers. It demands that you define yourself for yourself, because no one else can. And then there's the physical aspect, the part most people overlook. Taking care of your body isn't just a health tip, it's a declaration of worth. Eating foods that nourish you, getting enough rest, moving your body not to punish it but to celebrate it, these are powerful affirmations. They say to your subconscious, I matter enough to take care of me. That message ripples through every part of your being. But self-love isn't always loud. Sometimes it's in the silence, in the stillness, in those rare moments when you turn off the noise of the world and finally listen to your soul. Seeking silence and introspection in today's chaotic, overstimulated world is a spiritual rebellion. It's hard, but it's healing. Whether it's through meditation, journaling, walking in nature, or simply closing your eyes and taking a deep breath, you reconnect with your essence, the part of you that is whole, wise, and waiting for your attention. Carl Jung introduced a concept that has fascinated many: synchronicity. The belief that certain moments, encounters, or events are not coincidences but signs, mirrors of our inner world. When we begin to live authentically, when we align with who we really are, life starts speaking back to us in beautiful, mysterious ways. Suddenly, the right people cross our path. Opportunities arise that we didn't plan for. Answers appear just when we need them most. These aren't accidents. They are confirmations. The universe, God, life, it all responds when we choose truth, when we choose ourselves. In spiritual traditions, this is a recurring theme. When you are aligned with your truth, life aligns with you. You don't have to chase. You don't have to force. You allow. You trust. And maybe right now you're wondering, how do I know if a relationship is good for me? Here's the simplest but most powerful answer. How do you feel after spending time with them? Do they energize you or do they leave you feeling drained? Do you feel seen or do you shrink around them? Your body knows. Your emotions know. Trust that wisdom. You might also ask, how can I choose myself without feeling guilty? The truth is, prioritizing yourself is not an act of betrayal. It's an act of balance. You can only give your best to others when you are giving something to yourself first. You can't pour from an empty cup. You weren't meant to burn out in the name of being good. You were meant to shine in the name of being whole. And what about the fear that always creeps in? What if I lose people along the way? Let me tell you something. From the heart, you never lose the ones who truly love your soul. You only lose the ones who were holding on to the version of you that wasn't real, the ones who were attached to your silence, not your truth. Let them go. Your authenticity will attract the ones who were meant for you. Jung taught us that real transformation doesn't come from performing for the world. It comes from something deeper, something sacred, trusting your inner voice. The whisper that says, this is who I am, and this is enough. If there's one thing I've learned from this journey toward authenticity, it's that every single step you take, no matter how small, toward loving yourself more, toward honoring your truth, toward standing tall in your light, it all leads to something extraordinary. Not just a more fulfilling life, but a more honest one, a more peaceful one. A life where you no longer beg for love, attention, or belonging because you are the love, the attention, and the belonging. So, choose yourself, again and again. Not because it's easy, but because you're worth it. So, after everything we've explored together, the truths, the reflections, the challenges, and the power of embracing your most authentic self, I want to ask you this. What have you learned about yourself today? What spoke to your soul? What truth hit a little deeper than expected? Take a moment, breathe, and let it settle in your heart. Now, I invite you to do something simple but powerful. Comment below with one thing you've learned from this video and one practice you're going to carry into your life starting today. Whether it's setting boundaries, trusting your energy, or listening to your inner voice, your words might just inspire someone else who needs to hear the same thing. And if this message touched you, encouraged you, or helped you see yourself in a new light, please don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support helps us reach more beautiful souls like you who are ready to grow, heal, and live in their truth. You are not just another face in the crowd. You are seen. You are worthy. And you are already enough. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay true, stay grounded, and keep coming home to yourself.